Okay, boys and girls, happy Friday. Today, we're going to talk all about erosion. So remember, we are talking about the slow changes to the Earth's surface. Thursday, yesterday, we talked about weathering. And weathering is the breaking up of rocks. Today, we're going to talk all about erosion. Say erosion. Erosion, it's spelled like this. All right, so what is erosion? Erosion is when the weathered material is carried away. So first it gets broken down by weathering, and now during erosion it gets carried away, it gets taken away. It moves somewhere else. This movement can be caused by different sources, such as water, wind, and glaciers. Glaciers are large sheets of ice, so it's like a big iceberg, kind of. So water erodes material, whether it is from rain or a constantly flowing source. So erodes is like the verb form of erosion. So when you see that water erodes material, that means the material is going through the process of erosion. So water erodes material, whether it is from the rain. So when the rain comes down, it can move material, or a constantly flowing source, such as a river. The Grand Canyon was formed by the constant flow of water. Flooding can also cause a lot of erosion, as the floodwaters flow like a powerful river. So if you see in this picture here, this is a river. It's a muddy river, so it's hard to tell that it's a river. I'll even zoom in here. So the river has carved out all of these rocks and these pieces here, and it's moved them. The river is currently moving the rocks through the river. And that's how the Grand Canyon is formed. Water can also cause erosion in the form of waves. This can cause the coastline to change over time as it takes away weathered material. It is also responsible for the formations called sea stacks. So this is a sea stack. So water has weathered this material, it's broken down, and then the erosion takes it away. So the waves take it away in erosion. So it gets moved away. Wind can cause erosion over time as it blows across the earth. It can cause unique formations in rocks, such as arches. It is also believed that wind contributes to the erosion of canyon walls as well. So, yesterday we learned that wind can break down things. Here, we're talking about a different process. We're talking about how the wind is carrying it somewhere else now. And the same thing with water. So water also carries it somewhere else. Wind can sometimes transport a lot of dust or sand particles at once. This can cause a dust storm or sandstorm to occur. So all of this is little tiny sand particles or dust particles. This is a whole big picture of erosion happening. It's being carried away. Glaciers cause erosion as it moves slowly across rocky terrain. The giant sheet of ice scrapes the rocks as it moves, carrying pieces of rock with it. All right, so that is erosion. I want to come back to our little analogy up here with the school bus. So remember, weathering is when your family separates. Erosion is like when you're on the way to school because you're moving. The whole key word, the whole key phrase, the part of erosion that you need to memorize is the fact that it's moving particles or it's moving sediments. So erosion is when it moves. All right, next, we're going to take some notes about erosion. Okay, scientists, I want you to get out your science notebook You're going to turn to the same page we used yesterday. So the title of it is Slow Changes to Earth's Surface. Get that page out. Pause this video if you need to. This is what the top looks like. Okay, so we're going to fill in this second box here. So first, weathering happens, then erosion happens. And this section is going to look a lot similar to yesterday's. We're going to write the definition, we're going to draw a picture, and we're going to write what it's caused by. Okay, so erosion is the movement of soil and sediment by natural means, and we'll talk about that. We talked about it a little bit on Tuesday, earlier this week. The movement of soil and sediment by natural means. Now, remember, two things we talked about the other day. We talked about what sediment means. Sediment is natural material that is weathered, deposited, and then settles. But you can also think of sediment as little tiny pieces of rock, or little tiny pieces of rock and plants put together. Sediment are just like the pieces of it. So the movement of soil and sediment by natural means. Natural means is like wind or water. Just because you pick up a rock and put it someplace else, that doesn't necessarily mean that erosion is happening. Natural means that it's happening because of the earth. All right, so what is it caused by? There are three things that cause erosion. Do you remember them? I want you to write them down. Pause this video, and then we'll see if you are correct. All right. Erosion is caused by water, wind, and glaciers. All of these things move the soil and sediments and rocks to other places. And then we're going to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw some water. And I'm going to draw some rocks being moved by the water. We can also draw some wind. I mean, no, it's hard to draw wind, but I just draw these like little like swirly things with some rocks blowing in it. But don't forget, we have to label like a scientist. So I'm going to label wind, blowing rocks. Actually, let's write wind blowing sediments, our fancy science word. And then over here we can write water, moving rocks. So that when we come back to this page, we'll know exactly what we were talking about. So erosion is the movement of soil and sediment by natural means. It's caused by water, wind, and glaciers. And don't forget your two pictures. Okay, I'm going to have you guys take a brain break. So watch the video. You're going to practice the moves again like you did last week or yesterday. And then we're going to come back and learn about our last step. So pause this video, finish this page if you need to, and then move on to the next thing in the Schoology.